Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order with a reminder that the actions taken this evening will focus on our students and their achievement. With that, do I have a motion to approve the September 11th minutes?
So moved.
It's been moved by Susan. Do I have a second?
Second.
And seconded by Jim. Any questions or comments regarding the September 11th minutes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the accounts payable we have here, and it was in your board packet. Do I have a motion to approve the accounts payable?
So moved.
It's been moved by Dr. Kenyon. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Susie. Any questions about the accounts payable? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And before we move into the adjourning the retiring board, it's also, this is the opportune time to once again thank both Dr. Kenyon and Dr. Shaw for their service to the school district, especially our students. We can't thank you enough for all that. Susan Lance was not able to be here in person last meeting. She was on the phone. At the last meeting, we did provide clocks to all of our retiring board members that thanks them for their years of service. And we wanted to ensure that we had the opportune time to thank Susan as well for her service, her dedication, her focus. So thank you, Susan. Thank you, Dr. Shaw, Dr. Kenyon. Again, we can't express our gratitude enough for what you've done for our kids across our district. So thank you.
Would you like to say anything? No. Okay.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn the retiring board?
So moved.
It's been moved by Susie. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Dr. Kenyon. Signify by saying aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
We'll take a few minutes as we adjust and have our retiring board members step down and our new board members step to the front. So again, thank you.
I'm so glad to send you a text, son. Just check who we are.
5:30, right?
No, you got it. The right one.
Got here at 5:30.
You did.
We do, but he didn't put them out. So we can adjust them. Yes. Yes. Wait. Yes. Oh.
Seats kind of changed around, just to do anything in person. All right.
You sit right there.
Jeff only knows where to sit because his name tag's out front. He gets very confused.
Yes, this is kind of a new time to have orientation with board members. I didn't even think about trying to let people know about buttons and microphones and things like that. So yes, the mic is always on unless you hit the button. If you need to maybe cough or just you have a sneeze, it's always good then to hit that button so it doesn't come across. So I apologize about that. I should have thought about that component as we transitioned with new board members down here.
Got it. Just hit it. Hold it. Got it. Thank you.
All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Okay, first order of business is to determine a quorum, and I will read off the list, and if you'd please answer if you're here. Mrs. Coyle?
Here.
Mr. Giddens?
Here.
Mr. Hassman?
Here.
Mrs. Hines?
Here.
Mr. Orvis?
Here.
And Mrs. Wolpert?
Here.
Mrs. Leeper is absent this evening. We have 6 members present, so we do have a quorum. The next item is to review the abstract. I have, of the election, I have set a copy of that in front of all the board members tabled this evening, so I'll review the abstract from the elections office. For the district at large, there were 4 individuals running, and Mr. Giddens received 1,209 votes, Mr. Moody 775, Mr. Orvis 832, and Mrs. Wolpert 1,140. There were 22 scattered votes for a total of 3,378 votes received. The elections office then duly states that Mr. Giddens, Mr. Orvis, and Mrs. Wolpert are elected to the Cedar Falls Community School District Director at Large for a term of 4 years. To fill the vacancy, Mrs. Coyle received 1,154 votes. There were 100 scattered votes, and so the elections office therefore duly elect Mrs. Coyle as a Cedar Falls Community School District Director at Large to fill the 2-year term vacancy. And then next on the list would be to administer the oath of office to all 4 board members. So if you could all have you gather over here. Yes, that means you have to disconnect your microphones for a minute, and we'll give you the oath of office. Yep. I'm somewhat tethered. So if I could get all of you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of Office of Director of the Cedar Falls Community School District, Cedar Falls, Iowa, as now or hereafter required by law?
I do.
Congratulations. 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 Okay, next on the agenda is the election of school board president. You will find in front of each of you some green sheets. The first sheet should look like this. And so what you'll need to do is you'll need to check who you would like to nominate for president for the school board for this current year. And then I will need to have you sign that sheet and then turn it in. And the signature is required by the Code of Iowa. Thank you. With that, we have all 6 board members have submitted a nomination for Mrs. Coyle for president. So I would entertain a motion to suspend the formal voting for president and to elect Mrs. Coyle as president by
Acclamation.
yeah, correct, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to elect Mrs. Coyle as president. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, I need to back up 1 minute. Who motioned and who seconded? I'm sorry.
Jeff.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, Mrs. Coyle, if you'd raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Board President in the Cedar Falls Community School District, Cedar Falls, Iowa, as now or hereafter required by law?
I will.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. And I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you all. Now you have a ballot in front of you to elect the vice president. So if you could make your selection and sign it and then pass it down toward the middle, that would be great.
And again, this is the one you'll fill out first. Thank you. Okay, we have tallied the nominating ballots, and we have a tie between Mrs. Hines and Mr. Hassman. So in this case, unless I hear from one of the two of you that you wish to withdraw, we'll go ahead and move forward with the voting. That being said, then here is the blue ballot, and then you would write in the candidate's name. It either would be Director Hassman or Director Hines, and then we'll tally those votes. I just want to look at these one more time, make sure I did it right. And our Vice President is Mr. Hassman.
Thank you.
Jeff, just raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Board Vice President in the Cedar Falls Community School District, Cedar Falls, Iowa, as now and hereafter required by law.
I will.
Congratulations. All right, moving on to item I on the agenda, adopt the written rules, regulations, and procedures under the Code of Iowa 279.8. Do I have a motion to approve adopt the policies, rules, and regulations?
I move that the Cedar Falls Board of Education adopt the policies, rules, regulations, and procedures that govern the organization under Iowa Code 279.8.
Thank you, Jeff. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions about this motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to item J, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved by Jeff. I need to be careful about that. Mr. Orvis, do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments regarding open enrollment and the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I have not been contacted regarding public comment.
Neither have I.
Okay, good. Moving on again to item L, the Secretary's financial report.
Well, now I can get to do something that I'm more comfortable with.
Me too.
Give me just a second here. There we go. Yep, there we go. Thank you, Janelle. And you'll have to advance the slides for me because I don't have the device this month. Here is the financial reports for the month of August 2017. You'll see in the general fund that we had revenue of about $835,000 with expenses of $5.51 million. Just a reminder to the board that August is the slowest month of the school year as far as revenue for the school district. And that will start to pick up here in September as we receive our first state aid check in September, and then all the categorical funding as well as some property tax dollars will start to flow in October. But you can see our ending balance for the month of August was $1,985,948. I can tell you that that is probably the lowest ending month balance that we've had in quite a number of years. That's a combination of increasing enrollment and then the dollars flowing a good year behind that, and also the district being very conservative with asking for additional cash reserve funds to prop up our cash flow. And we've talked about that in the past, and you can sort of see now the results of the process that we've been working with for the last few years. I want to go to the next slide, please, Janelle. Management fund for the month of August. Very little revenue. Again, August is a very slow month, and expenditures also very minor. We had an ending balance of $396,867. In the capital projects fund, revenue again of $7,980. Again, that's all interest that we're earning on our investments from the bond sale, with expenditures of $1.65 million, and almost all of that is associated with either Aldrich or the North Cedar project. And with an ending balance of $26,184,717, and you can see where the dollars have been invested in what we have in a checking account. Statewide 1 cent local option sales tax. We had revenue of the month for $403,733. That's our scheduled monthly draw for the month of August. You can see the expenditures, $654,000 out. The biggest piece of that would be the $600,000 payment for the purchase of the new high school site. and then also another transfer out of $251,431 for debt service payment for the revenue bonds that the district has outstanding. So our ending balance was $7,024,064, and you can see where the investments are located with that and the amounts that we're receiving. With the physical plant and equipment levy, again, a very slow month. On the revenue side, $3,750, but expenditures of $636,000 as we've been continuing to work on projects other than our elementary projects over the summer. And you can see our ending fund balance of $3,007,999. It's sort of hard to say. Debt service levy revenue is $206. Again, that's all interest that you see. And then there's the transfer in from Fund 33 for our debt service payment. No expenditures. You won't see any expenditures in debt service until December. And so our ending balance is $503,159. Statewide 1 cent student activity fund, $65,361 in, $83,168 out for an ending balance of $537,450. Trust and agency accounts of $10,872 in, $11,221 out for an ending balance of $272,669. Enterprise fund, there we go. Revenue of $49,504 with expenditures of $104,458. Of course, the majority of those expenditures are food items and supplies as we gear up for the new school year. So you can see our ending fund balance of $677,332. And the other part of that 104 out is some of the equipment that we did purchase that we talked to the board about as we were replacing some equipment that was 40 plus years of age. Student coffee shop, very little activity for the month. You can see $4,720 for our fund balance. River Hills Consortium, we had a final payment from one school district come in of $90,702, and then we paid Central Rivers AEA, who we contract with to operate the River Hills program on behalf of the consortium. So you can see our ending fund balance is zero. That's should stay zero here for the next month or so, and then when the first quarter bills come in, those dollars flow into this account, and then we pay River Hills, and then they flow out. And with that, I'd entertain any other questions any of the board members would have.
My memory's a little fuzzy on so we made the payment for the high school land, and we've got several more before we're actually going to take title.
We have a total of 2 more payments. We'll make a second payment in June of 2018, and our final payment is in June of 2019.
Okay. Thank you.
You'd mentioned that the monthly cash balance was lower than you'd seen in a while, but that's actually a good problem in terms of increasing student numbers, and that was a big reason.
That would be a true statement. We had an enrollment increase of 94 students last year, and of course we did not receive the cash for those 94 students through state aid. We did apply for and receive additional authority for that, but the cash always runs a year behind, and that's one of the reasons why our cash reserve levy is higher this year, because those 94 students were added to that request for cash reserve for this year.
Okay.
So you always run a tail behind on that. The other part of it is our special ed deficit last year was $825,000. Don't hold me to that number, but in that range, $810,000. And of course, those dollars run a year behind as well. And so you take those two together, and that's a pretty sizable chunk of cash that we're not having the ability to be able to use this fall. Now, we'll gain that over the course of the year, but it will take us till next spring before we recoup that.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, we will put the Secretary's report on file for audit. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Moving on now to item M, communications. Our student representative, Arlo Heddle, is here this evening. Thank you, Arlo. This is the second time with us, and we are delighted.
Hi. So this week is super exciting at the high school because it's homecoming week. So we have a lot going on. Student Senate is putting on dress-up days every day this week. So today I wore a toga. That was fun. We also are doing some outreach with the elementary schoolers for homecoming. So this morning, some of the student senate officers, as well as some of our varsity athletes and our mascot went to the Hanson playground and we played with some of the kids, and we'll do the same thing at Southdale tomorrow afternoon. We have our homecoming assembly that the sophomores and the juniors and student senate organize, and that'll be held tomorrow morning, and our homecoming court will be decided then. And our homecoming dance will be held this Saturday at Orchard Hill Church.
Okay.
And we've also begun to think ahead to the food drive. So hopefully we're going to be pairing with the Waterloo schools to do an event at Chick-fil-A. The details of that are getting worked on, but I'll be able to report more on that next time, and that should be really exciting. In terms of the school as a whole, last night was our Powder Puff football game between the juniors and the seniors. The seniors won, which is exciting for us. And the 3 leadership groups competed in their annual tradition of a hallway decorating contest. So our theme this year is Welcome to the Jungle. So the first floor of the high school now looks appropriately jungle themed. We have 22 athletic events going on this week for homecoming. So some of the highlights: there's a boys golf meet at home on Thursday at 3:15. Men's and women's cross country are in Waterloo at 4:15 on Thursday. Women's swimming is at home Saturday at 9. And our homecoming game against Cedar Rapids, Washington will be in the Dome Friday at 7:15. So it should be a really fun week, and yeah, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions for?
Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to our informational reports. The STEM and robotics.
Yes, very excited to have
Swartley.
Mr. Swartley with us this evening to start off this conversation regarding some of the STEM work that's occurring across the Cedar Falls Community School District.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to share, and I'll have a little bit of a STEM update, and then I have some students here who will share about the first robotics team, FRC Team 525. So I think we'll have a slideshow here with some key points, but I'll just try to give you a quick overview of some of what is happening, and I won't hit everything, but I'll try to get some of the main things. I'll start here with some of the engineering classes. So we have I think a really strong program of engineering courses throughout the secondary program, starting in the 7th grade with the industrial tech and engineering, part of the exploratories. Grade 8, there's an elective automation and robotics course, and then grades 9 through 12, there's a full series of 4 courses that students can elect to take, which really gives them a strong background. And a recent addition in the past year has been the CAPS opportunities, which include the engineering technology strand and communication and design strand. And computer science is actually a place that I've focused a lot on in the past year in my role with STEM in the district. And in the past year, we've added 2 opportunities actually starting just this fall. One in 7th grade as part of the exploratories. There's a new computer applications and computer science course that the 7th graders take for 12 weeks. And then at the high school level, there's a computer science essentials course that is open to grades 10 and 12. And that, I think, started this year with 3 sections, so it's a great new opportunity. And that's an area that we're growing in the future. So I put future there, question marks. So some things we're working on for the next year is a possible elective at the 8th grade level, and also then at the high school level, a second course, which would be computer science principles possibly, and that would be an AP level course. So those are things that we're planning in the planning stages for next year. And elementary, we don't really have any standard STEM courses throughout, but there are lots of opportunities for students. I know a number of teachers are using code.org materials in their classroom. Our tech coaches are using a lot of the tech devices, and I'm really impressed with what I've seen there and how they're integrating that into the class and focusing not just on the device, but on the learning that comes with those. And STEM scale-up programs, we've got a lot of those that we've been using over the years. So I've listed here some examples. Some FTC and FLL teams have had STEM awards in the past. A World in Motion, Define STEM, the Project Lead the Way, some of those courses. Engineering is elementary. And the last one there, the Making STEM Connections, is one that started last year at the 4th grade level with STEM making kits that were available for all the 4th grade classes and all the buildings to use. So that's a great opportunity there. And then last thing I'll talk about is the extracurriculars and the Rocket Club. If you haven't heard about that one, that's a really great one. Zeb Nicholson leads that group at the high school, and they had a really outstanding year last year, going to a competition in the Washington, D.C. area and taking 5th place, I think, overall. So that was really amazing. And FIRST programs are another area that we've just been growing and growing. We have coaches for FRC and FTC teams. In the past year, have hired building coordinators for FLL programs at each of the elementaries to help with coordinating all the teams there. And I gave a summary there of all the students involved in all the teams. FRC, we've got about 40 students this year involved, grades 9 through 12. FTC, First Tech Challenge, which is grades 7 through 12, has had a huge increase with about 70 students right now on 5 teams. And the FLL program is up to 16 teams with 140 students. And FLL Junior, I put 26 plus teams there. I don't even know for sure how many that will be. We have 14 that are going right now, and then there's a fall season, and there's going to be a spring season with about the same number of teams, so it could be higher than that. But just a lot of great opportunities for the students. So if you have any questions for me, go ahead. And
Will you just remind us, FRC is
First robotics competition.
FTC is,
First Tech Challenge.
and FLL.
First Lego League.
There we go.
And
Did I miss
then
one in there?
First Lego League Junior, of course.
Okay. I caught that one, though.
Yeah.
I was
And then maybe tell us, FIRST itself is an acronym.
Yes, it is. It
Yeah.
stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. Now, I don't want to steal too much of the thunder. I think the students are going to tell a little bit more about that too here.
Can you tell me a little bit about the programming classes, the computer science classes in the secondary level? Are they elective classes or are they required classes?
They are elective now, and I think statewide there is some discussion of a requirement for computer science, but we're not there yet. The Computer Science Essentials is a Project Lead the Way course, so we've used Project Lead the Way courses for all of the engineering, and it's actually a beta course, so it's the first time they're running it, and it gets into, I think, some Java programming and some App Inventor, and so it's a brand new thing, new materials, new teachers, and the teachers actually are going through a training course right as they're teaching, so they haven't had a lot of background, but we have 2 great teachers there to pick that up.
Do you have any idea what the numbers are in those elective classes? Do we have a lot of students?
In that Computer Science Essentials course, I think it's about 50 students in 3 sections.
Okay.
And I think as this develops, I think we'll attract more students into that option.
Anytime you have that first course for the first time offered, you never know exactly what the enrollment will look like, but we were very pleasantly surprised by the number of students that signed up for those courses. So that was very exciting.
Any other questions?
This question is going to be really hard to answer, just from being able to track. But as far as our students that go on to university or go on to, I mean, do we have any? Again, it's hard because we lose track of, it's hard to track our students after they leave our system. But I mean, do you have anecdotal evidence?
Well, I could give a few examples. I hate to single students out, but I know that we've had some outstanding students go on into engineering fields, computer science fields, and we have alumni I know just from robotics that are at NASA and at Apple in California, all kinds of different engineering fields. I think most of the tracking that I would be able to know about is from our own team, the robotics team, and we had done some kind of tracking research in the past couple of years, and typically it shows that from our team there's about 75 to 80% of those students going on to some kind of STEM related career or field in college, and a lot of that's engineering and computer science. My impression is, and this is just an impression without any data to show it, but my impression is that the students that go on from here are very well prepared. I think the fact that we haven't had the computer science was a weakness, but that's something that's growing around the state, and so I'm happy to see that we're stepping in right away to pick that up and develop a program there.
Good.
And this is anecdotal as well. With the Iowa Regional for the robotics competition, the number of volunteers that are graduates and have been previously involved with the 525 team, unbelievable. The number that come to support the team and the importance that they place on the value for students. And it's really neat to see.
And I'll add to that, I think it was on one of the slides that I didn't point out, but I had just estimated that there must be at least 100 parent or other community volunteers that are helping out with some of those after-school STEM programs, and so that's just great to have that kind of support within the community. I think in the past we've had some cases where we've had these waiting lists of students that want to be on teams, and we haven't been able to do that, so the addition of the building coordinators in the past year has helped organize student sign up and helped with them being able to arrange the parent volunteers. And so I think the parents are willing, if they're just encouraged to step into those roles, give them a little bit of support there.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, I'll turn it over to some of the students here to talk about the FRC team.
Hi, so I'm Molly, and I'm a senior on the team, and I've been on the team since I was a freshman. And the team has done a lot of for me. I've had a bunch of opportunities for learning as well as just traveling cool places. So.
Hello, my name is Sean Zhao. I'm a current senior this year. I joined the robotics team my sophomore year, and I'm now one of the two team captains alongside Molly.
I'm Grace Hertz. I'm a sophomore on the team. I've been there for about a year. It's helped me in the ways that I get involved a lot more. I never thought I'd be using heavy machinery and stuff like that, but I am. It's kind of insane.
My name is Megan Peasley. I'm a junior, and I do a lot with the Word applications, the website, and the newsletter. So I'm going to start off by telling a little bit more about FIRST. FIRST is a program that inspires students within the field of STEM, while also teaching students about communication and teamwork skills. Here at Cedar Falls, we are very lucky that we have teams for all 4 FIRST programs. So through elementaries, we have FL and FL Junior. The junior highs, we have FTC, and then at the high school, we have FRC. So our team is a FIRST robotics competition team, and we've been around since 1999 when our mentor, Mr. Swartley, he showed a video of a FIRST robotics competition, and he gave the students a challenge when they wanted to start a team that if they had money and people, then he'd coach it. So currently our team has grown a lot since then. We've been around for almost 20 years now, and yeah, we've learned a lot throughout the way.
Within our team, we have a bunch of opportunities. There are lots of small groups for students to get involved in. Some of the bigger ones of those include CAD, which stands for Computer-Aided Design. That's basically building 3D models of the robot. There's mechanical, which is building the bits and parts of the robot. And then there's programming, which is programming the robot. We also have some smaller groups, like the awards group that Megan and I are part of, and lots of other students that work on the chairman submission, which is the most prestigious robotics award that there is. There are also lots of learning opportunities. For example, last summer, we had different workshops for students to get involved in order to learn stuff like electronics and programming and mechanical and CAD to prepare them for the upcoming build season. There are also scholarship opportunities that FIRST offers over $50 million in scholarships, which is also a huge opportunity for a lot of students.
The FRC First Robotics Competition also teaches a lot about the technical aspect of engineering that you don't get an opportunity to in school simply because of all the advanced parts we have. For example, we have a lot of sensors that we teach students about, like a light sensor, a encoder, potentiometers, and much more. This also helps them apply that to a future career in engineering because we do have PLTW classes with said sensors, but nothing as advanced as here.
And so more with the opportunities that we get, our team has been to China, and that was cool because we got to help start teams over there. And we also travel around in our state and help other teams get started. And then also for competitions, we get to travel around out of state. So that's really cool to just see other teams and how they've done their robot. And also just working with those teams, how the competitions go is there's usually 3 against 3, and you have to work with 2 other teams and get those real life working teamwork skills. So yeah, and we're also gonna show a video of our match. So. And right now that's at UNI, and what is happening is there's the robots on the field and they're delivering gears to the airships which they pull up, so we had to design a robot to do that. And as you see, there's 2 people on the airship which gather the gears and put them in the slots, and I can tell you from experience that airship is really small, so you have to work together and communicate as well if you're back driving the robot. So, yes.
So where are they putting those gears?
Do you see them pulling, like the people bend over and it looks like they're pulling something
Yes.
up? So there's just a little peg, and here, I'll show you. There's a gear and there's like a small peg that you have to fit it on.
Oh.
And you have to be careful like when you pull it up so it doesn't fall off and all that stuff.
Okay.
So, yes. But do you guys have any questions?
And during that competition, how well did you guys do?
For that one, we made it to the quarterfinals, yeah.
Okay, great.
And is that competition different every year? So you're designing a different type of robot to do different?
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Did you see any strong connections in what you've learned in the robotics with other classes that you've taken?
Yeah, so I'm a part of the PLTW courses, and those are really good at helping like getting a little background knowledge, and on our team, like you really apply those things like CAD. I learned that my freshman year in IED, and then that kind of inspired me on the team to work on our CAD there. So really they all connect and go together, so yes.
If I can intervene as well, something within the FIRST programs is called gracious professionalism.
Yeah.
And one of the most amazing impact I think these students have, Mr. Swartley have, we have 2 audience members that are sitting back there, Mr. and Mrs. Neuendorf, who have been invaluable across the state to help other teams start and enjoy, take part, and be involved with the FIRST programming. So these leaders in front of us are amazing, what they've done across not only the Cedar Valley, but across the state of Iowa. So thank you for that. That's been amazing.
I had the opportunity when I walked in and introduced myself to Sean. We spent, I want to say, at least an hour together at the Dome, and he walked me through just every stage of the event. So it was a great opportunity to sit down with a delightful young man, and he was patient with me and took the time just to explain everything that was happening. And I will say it to all of you because you're also respectful of each other, and you sit together and you collaborate as a team, but not just you as a team, you're respectful to the other teams that are in the competitions also. And Sean, you're going to have to help me because I think you were telling me how many different countries were at the Dome that day. It was a huge amount.
At Iowa in 2016, we had teams from the U.S., we had teams from So at the Iowa competition in 2016, we had teams from Australia, we had teams from China, we had a team from Brazil, and a lot of teams from the U.S. locally and also from Minnesota. I think there was a team from Nebraska, there was teams from Illinois, all over the country.
Now, I'm gonna be naive about this, but I also had an opportunity to go to the gym or to the auditorium at the high school, or maybe it was in the gym. But I'm remembering the auditorium when you get to see what you are going to build, and I don't know when that's coming up, but that for the community, that is that's amazing to go there and you guys get to see what you're going to build for the first time with everybody else across the state. So I remember that. I don't know why that sticks in my mind, but if you have an opportunity, board members, to go see them, do that. It's pretty neat.
Do you know when that's going to be?
I'll just give you some quick dates. Yeah, January 6th, Saturday, is the kickoff for FRC. Turns out we may have a scheduling problem, but that day is also, at this point, is scheduled for the league championships for FTC, which I'm not sure where that will be yet. But so we have a few students that are doing both teams, and so they'll be choosing. And we expect somewhere around 25 to 30 teams from across the state, and maybe we had one from Brazil come up here for kickoff, but they were here for other reasons. And then I'll throw out the date, March 22 to 24, you've heard about the Iowa Regional, so that's coming up in the Dome and McLeod Center at UNI. UNI has been a great partner in hosting that. And so if you haven't been there, you should get over there one of those days. And we'll assign a student to take you around and tell you all about it.
And I would ask one more question. 525, why that number?
So each team is given a number depending on which year they join. For example, the first team is team number 1, and so on and so forth. Currently, we are in the 7,000s? 6,800. Our team was founded in 1999, but we discontinued in 2000, and we recontinued in 2001. That's why our number is 525 instead of what it originally was, which is 332.
Interesting. Any other questions?
What is Swart Dogs?
It's students working around robotic technology. And Mr. Swartley, who started it, so came up with an acronym.
So, okay. So, this was around 6-7 years back when students first found out that Mr. Swartley had a nickname called Swart Dog, and he hated that name. But we wanted to use it as our team name, so we had students sneak to the announcer's table, and instead of announcing our team name, they would say 525, the Swart Dogs. And Mr. Swartley got fed up with that, so he said if you can come up with an acronym, he'll let us be called Swart Dogs.
There you go. Good. Very good.
This is just another opportunity to commend the students. I have the opportunity to judge in the Iowa Regional, and it is amazing the number of times you hear and talk with other teams that say, when we ask the question, who is the team that really stands out, that helped you, that assisted you, that gracious professionalism, over and over again, it comes back to the Swart Dogs, and that's kind of the culture, the mentality, the approach that our students take, our mentors take, Mr. Swartley take, and it's all focused on collectively how do we make a positive impact. So thank you for that.
Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was actually hoping you'd get to demonstrate the robot.
I know.
I know we have limited space. Okay, moving on to O, the approval of the iPad and Chromebook bids.
I guess that would be me, and I don't know how I'm supposed to follow this presentation, other than to say it is technology, and if we could pull that up. The district wants to complete purchase of technology as part of year 5 of the technology plan, and we have 2 requests all sort of rolled into one this evening. We would like to purchase an additional 460 Chromebooks. If the board will recall, we purchased a significant number of those back in June, and we need to add an additional 460. You can see the 3 different firms that we solicited pricing from, and this time the low quote is from CDWG out of Vernon Hills, Illinois at $92,036.80. The second item that we would like to purchase this evening is some iPads. These iPads will be used at the lower elementary level. I believe it's pre-K through 3. I'm not having anybody nod against me, so that pre-K through, excuse me. And we're asking for 440 to replace and supplement the existing iPads that we have. And of course, you can only buy iPads from Apple, and the pricing there is $69,115. And of course, this all fits within the year 5 of the district's technology plan.
And the Chromebooks are actually for the elementary as well, which is 3rd grade through 6th grade, to continue with that refresh that we have across our district.
Very good. Any questions?
So this is our year 5 of the plan.
Correct.
I guess I have just kind of a broader question. Do we have a year 6 and 7 of our, or it was a 5-year plan, right?
It's a 5-year plan. We are going to probably in November bring the kind of that first rough draft to the board of our next phases of our plan. We have several different committees, our building instructional technology leaders that are working on that, as well as with a lot of our technology staff. So we're working on that, knowing that technology is such a ever-moving, ongoing challenge when you look at trying to make sure that we plan out appropriately over the next 3 to 5 years.
So is the intention to come up with a new 5-year plan?
I don't think that wouldn't be a new 5-year plan, but it's going to be updating the current plan, but then also looking at what are those next areas of focus that we really need to have as we try to look at student learning, levels of engagement, and just the changing framework of how we utilize technology. I think I'm not sure this is something that a lot of people know about across the community, but we're really trying to utilize some remote server capabilities. So a student Chromebook, they'd be able to, and a Chromebook like this, would be able to run any program with any capacity, because you're not going to be limited on the amount of memory or capacity within the device. It's going to be all remote access. So those are really going to be those next phases of our technology plan is how do we utilize this to have that deeper level impact, but also look at it much more globally, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the iPad and Chromebook bids?
I move the Cedar Falls Community School District Board of Education accept the bid from Apple Incorporated for the purchase of 235 iPads and the bid from CDW-D for the purchase of 460 Chromebooks as presented.
Thank you, Susie. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other questions or concerns?
The only comment would be this is included within our PEPAL plan, which we'll bring to the board just as an update as well. It's always one of our line items for ongoing technology expenses for students.
Is there a warranty in particular with the Chromebooks that is included in that price?
Yeah, 1 year.
1 year warranty?
And our staff in the IT department we're a certified warranty repair station for Samsung, so we basically do most of the warranty work in-house.
We typically expect our Chromebooks to last on a 3-year cycle. So we go with that 1 year warranty, knowing that after roughly about that first year, second year, you look at replacement costs versus ongoing warranty costs. It's kind of the tipping point.
been moved and seconded. Do I have an aye? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to approval of substantial completion of the Hanson Elementary roof project. Mr. Nisker.
Okay, if we could pull that slide up, please. Thank you. As some of the board members know, that we replaced a section of the roof on Hanson Elementary this summer. That section is basically above the first and second grade students. If you have any kids in the building, you can sort of know where that's at. Original budgeted amount was $128,679. You can see that the contract came in as originally estimated, and our design fees actually came in a little bit less because the contract that we have with that firm is a not to exceed amount, and time and material not to exceed. So the total amount for the roof project, it was a $125,523. So we came in $3,156 under budget, and of course all of this is out of the physical plant and equipment levy.
Thank you, Deb. Do I have a motion to approve the completion of the Hanson Elementary roof project?
I move that the Cedar Falls Community School District Board of Education accept as complete the 2017 roof project. All claims for the materials furnished, labor performed, and/or services provided on this contract must be filled within the next 30 days.
Thank you, Susie. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the superintendent's report.
And this item is not listed, but I think it'd be remiss to not say welcome to all of our new board members. Congratulations. We know it's going to be a tremendous team as we look at students and our achievement across our district. A few different dates for the board's awareness and our community's awareness. The October board meeting dates, October 9th and 23rd. We do have the Iowa Association of School Boards State Convention, November 15th, 16th, and 17th. The 17th really is kind of set aside just for like president's meetings, things like that for training. So if you could hopefully look at your calendars for the 15th and 16th. For new board members, on the 15th, there is a new board member training. The hope would be we could potentially attend that collectively together, and that's always a very good meeting as we look at those components from IASB and what they provide. October 9th, we're going to start reviewing the board committee assignments. So if you could start thinking on that, and I'll send some information out ahead of time as well to look at all the committees that we have as a school board. We will look at the certified annual reports on October 9th to really review our budget. Mr. Nesker always goes through a presentation that really starts to define and give a lot of reference and background to the components of school budgeting and our authority. Then finally, we will also have the information report on October 23rd, which is our Iowa assessments, and we'll have both Dan and Pam that will help present that, as well as some other people potentially.
Good. Any questions regarding the superintendent's report? Okay, moving on. Questions, comments, concerns from board members? I'd also like to welcome the new board. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Please don't get used to this time.